I think one of the reasons why people are so afraid of processed foods is because they are linked to cancer, aren't they? UPFs have been linked to cancer, haven't they?
Yeah, in excessive consumption. But there's specific types of processed food you should not be consuming. And I'm very vocal about this.
Yeah,
and red
you
and
talk about it in your
processed
book.
meats, red and processed meats are probably one of the worst things we can be consuming for our health. They are the only food that's really classified as a class 1 carcinogen. And I can see like you're looking at the pages in front of you.
I'm marking it down.
I know. And sausages, salami, ham. I think I saw a feature in, was it The Guardian or The Times last week? And it said that ham should be banned from schools. And I was so happy about it because my kids, I opt for vegetarian options anyway. But I know people that opt for veggie because they're sick of ham sandwiches being the everyday select go-to. It's like a default in this country. Why are we feeding everybody processed meats that are known to be cancerous? We've got the highest rates of bowel cancer ever in this country right now. And for the first time ever, we are not going to outlive our parents. That's how bad it's got in terms of the circle of life. Our lifespan should be getting longer. And now, for the first time, we're starting to go back. And it's the lack of whole foods. It's the lack of fiber. UPFs is just one corner of this big circle, but it does dictate the fact that we are over-consuming processed meats and processed foods. That processed chicken I discussed isn't a class 1 carcinogen, but it's not just chicken. It's got a lot of extra additives to it. But the salamis, the hams, the cured meats, the sausages are just not good for us. And we see them at celebratory foods.
Yes.
After my son's rugby, there's always a hot dog stand. You know, everywhere you go, if you ask for a veggie alternative, people will turn around to you and they'll go, oh, but that's processed. Actually, that's not a class 1 carcinogen. I would opt for the meat alternative, like you, any day. I can see your face, over the red processed meat.
You're joking.
Option. It's
Okay,
so
hold on.
much better for you.
You're telling me
Yes,
that
I
in
am.
the supermarket aisles where it's got all that processed meat, like the corn roast, the corn stuff, this is chicken, all of that stuff, you would choose that over
Every day.
eating a steak?
Yes, I would.
And that would be better for you?
Steak is not a processed meat, but yes, over a processed sausage, salami, ham, I would always choose that. There's a study that came out this year that said, so 2025 data, I put it in the book, it's in there somewhere on the right page. I think it's got a picture of the different burger hierarchies of a plant burger, a processed burger with a veggie alternative, and then a meat burger somewhere in there. Okay. And if you look at them all, the meat alternative is a much better choice for your long-term health because it's lower in saturated fat. It might be a bit higher in salt, but it's not a class 1 carcinogen because it's not linked to cancer. Meat.
I'm shocked. I'm totally and utterly flabbergasted. And the reason I'm so shocked is because I tried to cut those things out. And I'll say the reason why is I was feeling very bloated. And I was eating them in excess.
Yes.
So now I'll have them once in a while, for sure. Fine. Once a week, for sure. It will be on our plate. Yeah. But I like to have like vegan kebabs, Beyond Meat burger. I love all those things.
Me too.
I had a roast the other day and someone was like, have you started eating meat? I was like, I will always be a vegetarian, but sometimes I eat fake meat and it looks really similar. Yeah. Now, what you're saying is that a steak is better for you because it's not processed?
It's not a processed meat. I'm not saying a steak's better. You should still limit the amount of red meat. You need to limit red meat. But the processed meats, in terms of ones that have undergone a lot of manipulation, you've got to think sausages ground down with extra additives in them, smoked, cured, nitrate, all of this stuff that makes ham. Why do you think meat's pink?
I don't know.
How does it stay pink? You know, it wouldn't stay pink. Ham doesn't just stay that color. It's got additives in it. It's preservatives. People don't know this. And there's something really, I'm not anti-meat, by the way, guys. Just opt for some chicken instead of ham. Well, you are, but that's like, you can say that. My job as a nutritionist is just to be like, have what you like. You know, my husband eats meat, but I choose not to raise my kids in that way, or for me, because I know the food industry. I know what's in our food. And it's not good.
I need you to speak to my fiance when we get married because that's how I want to raise my kids.
There you go.
You've also written here, alcohol is a carcinogenic to humans.
Yeah, we just shouldn't be having alcohol. I mean...
You think we should never drink?
There's new research, again, that came out, I think it's in the last 6 to 7 months, that said that the rates of breast cancer, like for women with a hereditary disposal, you know, the gene, and I'm not a cancer specialist, guys, but this study came out and it said that even like a drop a week is just not good for us. And we have to stop sugarcoat. Yeah, like you should not be having any if you are predisposed. And then it does elevate your risk, even like a glass or two a week elevates your risk of breast cancer as a woman. And when that came out, I remember reading it thinking, this is groundbreaking because we know drinking's not good for us. Of course. But we've never had such a stark correlation before with cancer, and we need more research, as with everything. But we just should not be drinking alcohol as much as we do.
A glass of red wine is good for you.
Well, and this is the really confusing element. You can probably get the flavonols and, you know, the benefits that you get from red wine in food. You get it eating dark berries and, you know, blackberries that you can pick for free down the side of the road in the winter months probably give you a better boost for your health over a glass of red wine. And then it's the quality of the wine.
Right.
It's how you consume it. The research studies are often on the Mediterranean diet where people sat as a family eating with food. They're not just binge drinking or going home every night and cracking open a bottle of red wine that they've got down the road. It's just a different way of life, and also their diets are very different. So to pull out and cherry pick studies, which is what I hate about the online social media world, I cannot bear it, because there's always an underlying element of truth of what you see that scares you, that's viral. Like influencers saying it's toxic. Well, that's because maybe they read one study that said that there's one ingredient in this baby bell that might be really bad for people. It doesn't make it true fully.
True. And the word toxic is very different.
Everywhere and different.
To saying it's not that good for you.
Exactly. But that's what goes viral.
So true.
So it's almost like preying on all of our vulnerabilities just to push content out there. And it's a really worrying time because there's no regulation.
You said exposure to the sun.
Well, yeah. I mean, you know, the main cancerous areas that we know about: sun exposure, alcohol, red and processed meats, and tobacco, smoking. I think everyone knows that, but they don't know about the meat. Everyone knows the sun. Everyone knows about sun cream. Everyone knows about, you know, smoking and alcohol. People know it's not good for you. But why are we not talking about the other one in that group?
Why is it legal then? Why is alcohol so legal? What? I don't get it.
You're asking me. It's probably money. Let's be honest.
Because what's the alternative people will do then? Because that's why people taking a lot of recreational drugs, by the way. So people taking like mushrooms and natural things because they're saying at least it's natural. That's another thing as well, by the way.
Yeah, natural is the worst claim out there because there's nothing to back it up. On a packet to say it's natural, you could say it's natural and it could still have something that's not natural inside the pack. It's like a percentage you have to meet. But let's be honest, in this country, there's a change. There's a change in the tide. We're millennials, but Gen Z, Gen X, they're sober-tastic.
Yeah. They are.
Like, how amazing. I do think, and with Ozempic and drugs like that on the rise, Wegovy, whatever, you know, GLP-1s, the food industry is going to change. We've got to watch the next 10 years really interestingly. So we see these trends, raw milk. We've discussed the ethics behind it. You know, I'm sitting on the fence here. I can see both sides to it. But this is going to be a complete different conversation in 10 years' time.
For sure. It's interesting you say exposure to the sun because I just got my blood results back and I'm very low in vitamin D. Yeah. It says I need to get out in the sun. But if I go in the sun, I'm going to get cancer.
I know. And I think there's a degree of sun caution, but also now a lack of the fact that, you know, we need to be wearing sun cream. But if you have a certain skin tone, if your skin's darker than all year round, it's harder to absorb as much sunlight, especially living in the UK where we barely get a good, you know, chunk. We might get 3 to 4 weeks a year of solid sunshine if we are lucky, if you look at it that way. So vitamin D is a problem and everyone should really be supplementing vitamin D. But sun cream wise, you need to speak to a dermatologist. I am very pro sun cream use, but I don't think in the winter, you know, everyone says for anti-aging.
Yes.
And I got on that trend. I got a load of Factor 50. I was putting it on my face and I realized I need vitamin D and I need any ray I can get in the winter.
Yeah, fine. Okay. I really want to talk around the consequence of cutting out ultra-processed foods because I think, and I might be wrong here, you tell me, if I had a completely ultra-processed food-free diet, I'd be the healthiest person in the world. We've just discussed what an ultra-processed 3-plan meal will look like. I think, and you can tell me if this is ultra-processed or not, this would be my ultra-processed free diet. Wake up in the morning and I have 2 eggs. I'd have a loaf of bread from Jason's, which is only 4 ingredients. That's not processed, is it?
It's processed, but it's not UPF.
All right, so I'll make my bread then, okay? I'll make my bread in the morning.
And your bread maker every day, smelling out the kitchen.
It smells amazing. My mum actually makes a 3-ingredient one in the oven. It doesn't take long. Very nice.
Do you know, I have a bread maker and I really screwed it up. I need to keep practicing. I make the cottage cheese loaves a lot though.
I've never made that. We want to make that.
Really easy.
Then as a snack, I don't have a snack because I only have 3 meals a day. Then for my lunch, I'm having a salad. And then for dinner, I'm making myself a soup, just vegetable soup. So healthy.
Yeah. I'd say that's quite low in fibre though.
No, my salad and my soup is very high in fibre.
So how much carbohydrate have you got in your salad and your soup?
I'm having potatoes.
Good. That's
I'm having
good.
Sweet potato. I'm having whole grain, lentil pasta, sorry.
Perfect.
That's what I do put in my soup anyway.
Because when you say salad, most people just think lettuce, tomato, cucumber, and you're like, boring.
Salad, boring. Yeah. Seeds, nuts.
That's a lovely diet.
50 grams of protein, fibre I had in my diet last week, by the way.
Basically, you are smashing it, and that's wonderful. But how many people realistically can make a salad like that at lunch?
I know. Not me, by the way. I did that one day last week. But what's the consequence, I guess, of cutting out these, like, what's the consequence of me not having ultra-processed foods? Because I'm not adding chickpeas to my salad, by the way. It comes from a tin, ultra-processed.
That's not ultra-processed, that's minimally processed.
Oh,
that's the difference. So I encourage people in the book to stock their cupboards with dried lentils, dried pasta, which has a degree of processing, right? With because the minute you put moisture in it, that's when foods go off, because bacteria loves the water or the moisture in the pasta. So you've got to dry things out and then cook it and add the moisture.
Got it.
So you've got to think about things that are minimally preserved as good for us. And we have to change the conversation. That's why scientists don't like Nova. They do not like, and they're very on the fence with this ultra-processed conversation. There was a conference in Geneva was it in January this year or was it in 2024? And there were scientists actively saying this is a load of nonsense. They were like, UPFs are not the problem with the obesity crisis. This has nothing to do with it. It's this, it's that, it's this. And so it's because it's too confusing to be initiated on a public health level. You know, like you just said, my cans of chickpeas are processed. Yeah, they are processed. Doesn't make them bad. They're just put in a can and then they're processed.
But how can it be healthy for me to eat something out from an aluminium can?
The aluminium is a complete different conversation. Absolutely. And I'm actually...
what do you mean?
I think now we've come to a point where we need a lot more transparency in how food is stored, how food is packed, and we need to see a big shift in the supermarkets. It's not my scientific area, just to put that out there. I equally am concerned about plastic consumption. But what I do know is a study recently said the more fibre you have in your diet, so your beautiful salads, your lovely homemade soup at dinner, which sounds so good.
Yeah, I had that one day.
Why are you not sending that to me?
I feel like I'm really trying to, like, I've said this in another podcast as well. I'm really trying to, like, get you guys on my side. I'm like, I have loads of fibre, by the way.
Yeah, you do great, which is good because fibre can help push out microplastics. Yes, and endocrine disruptors. And there's a lot of talk now with fertility, with UPFs, with endocrine disruptors and all sorts of things. And the more fibre you have in your diet, it's not just the reduced risk of bowel cancer we're talking about or the mental health link, gut health, mental health, gut health, heart health, gut health, cancer, gut health, lifespan. Everything links back to fibre. And why is everyone talking about protein?
Because we want to get stronger. We don't want our bones to go.
Well, we talked about fat.
Reduce fat.
We've talked about fat. We've talked about sugar. We've talked about carbs. We've gone low carb. We've gone low sugar. We've gone low fat. And we can't go low protein, so we'll go high protein. Look, all these macronutrients are important in the right amounts for you.
Right.
But what I find so amazing is why is no one talking about fibre in the same way? And they should be, because the plastic thing is going to be the next big discussion, I think.